Yes, and her name is Brooke Kreuser, pardon me. She's been a financial advisor with Edward Jones for just shy of a year, and her goal is to empower women to understand and control their finances in all stages of life. She's a Kenosha native. She moved to Arizona to get her undergrad, and she came back to Kenosha, and she finished and got her graduate degree in psychology at Parkside. So she's a true Kenosha native. She had to come back home because she loves this community so much. She's a Chamber of Commerce ambassador, a Kenosha Women's Club network, and most recently a proud new dog owner of an 8-month-old rescue pup named Coda. So please welcome. Welcome, Brooke.
All right. Good, Joanna? Excellent. Well, thank you, ladies, for allowing me to speak to you today for a few minutes about empowering you to take control of your financial journey. My passion as a female financial advisor is to encourage women to be financially independent, like I know a lot of us probably are, and to take control of your own financial future. Coming from divorced parents, I've seen how these circumstances can negatively impact the caretaking parent. So that's part of what encouraged me to become a financial advisor, is so that, and it also fueled my passion, for educating women on financial topics. So that really led me to where I am today and encourages me to do what I'm doing here with you all, to just educate, encourage, and push you forward in the right direction. So I'm going to share a few fun facts about why women are better at investing than men. Like most things. But for one, did you know that women save more than men do? And that's because we tend to be more conscientious and forward-thinking, so we start to save ahead of time compared to men. Another thing is we're more risk averse. So in our investments, we tend to take less risk because we are, like I said, a little bit more fearful when it comes to investing. Now this is a good thing because we lose less money, but it's a bad thing because we make less money. So I also want to encourage you all to take that extra step and earn the money that you can be in the market. Next fun fact, did you know that women trade 50% less often than men? And that's again because, like I said, we're more risk averse. So we buy and hold our investments and focus more on the long-term outlook when it comes to things. Next, because we buy and hold our investments returns are higher. So we make more money in the market than men. Because we tend to stay the course when the market experiences dips. So we buy, hold, and don't let the dips in the market affect us. Compared to how men tend to make more reactionary decisions. So when the market dips, they pull their money out, and they in turn sacrifice those long-term gains that they could have had. So all of these traits and fun facts that I just shared are reasons why women are my ideal clients, and why you all should be involved in your own financial planning journey as well. Next, I want to move on to the top 3 biggest financial stressors for women. The first one is thinking that I should be doing more with my finances. Does anyone here feel that way currently or felt that way in the past? So working with a financial advisor can kind of help ease this stress because we can at least be a sounding board for you saying, yes, you're on the right track, this is everything you need to be doing. Or option B, hey, here's some things that we maybe haven't thought about in the past and some things that we should start doing. The second biggest financial stressor for women is, am I saving enough to retire? Or if you're in retirement, am I spending the correct amount month to month? So again, working with a financial advisor can help set that exact number for you. If you're in that stage of, do I have enough to retire? Edward Jones actually has a retirement planning software tool where we'll put in all of your assets, all of the money that you have, any debts that you owe, and any monthly spending that you expect in the future. From there, it will spit out a number between 1 and 100 that tells you how well on track you are for retirement. Now, if that number comes out lower than you'd like or worse than you'd expected, that's where we'll start coming up with a plan to bridge the gaps. Save more, spend less, make some changes, and we'll kind of take it from there. The third largest stressor is paying off debt. Along with the rest of America, women are concerned about the debt that they have. And I'm going to let you all in on a little tip that we use as financial advisors. It's called the 5% rule. When you invest in the market, we hope to earn and keep around 5% a year on average over the long term, 5%. If you have any debts that are an interest rate higher than 5%, we suggest getting those paid off as soon as possible rather than taking that money and putting it in the market. If you have debts that have interest rates lower than 5%, we suggest just paying the monthly payment and nothing over it. If you have excess money at that point, rather than working on paying off that debt with such a small interest rate, put that money in the market and earn that 5%. Make yourself some money in the meantime. The key factor that contributes to all three of those stressors, though, is the fact that only 55% of women feel knowledgeable on financial topics. Now, I know that 55% includes nobody in this room, right? But, so let's add to that knowledge and go over a few financial planning basics. As we navigate through life, we go through 3 financial stages. Number 1, growing literacy stage, when we're young and just trying to figure things out. Number 2, the accumulating wealth stage. This is our middle age of life. We're trying to stuff away money for retirement. Number 3, the distributing wealth stage. This is typically when we're in retirement, using our retirement assets or making gifts. So I'm going to start by explaining 3 key areas to focus on during that growing literacy stage. So even if we aren't at the growing literacy stage or we're older than that, it's okay because there's still things to be learned here. So during that first stage of life, it's good to have an education component. That's our number 1 component. Education here looks like just growing and understanding your financial acumen, building your credit, understanding what retirement accounts are and how they work. Then we move on to component number 2, which is creating a budget. The earlier you start creating that budget, the earlier we know we're not spending beyond our means. That way we can make sure that we are tucking enough away for retirement, which brings me to point number 3, savings. Although you're young and retirement's far off to think about, you still should be, make sure that you're saving here, as well as creating an emergency fund. When you're younger, tons of unexpected things are going to come up between now and retirement. So it's important to have a good chunk of cash set aside for those emergency situations. So those 3 components will help us establish good financial framework. If you don't have those 3 components yet, it's not too late to start implementing one of them. Moving on to the next stage, the accumulating wealth stage. This is where you're going to start creating that retirement nest egg. And again, there's 3 main components that we should consider. Number 1, we see education again. Although education at this stage of life tends to look like reviewing your retirement accounts and understanding what their purposes are. So 2 educational components that I want to give you all today is number 1, we should be taking advantage of our employer matches. So if we're still working and contributing to a 401k or some kind of retirement plan at work, if they match, put in what they match. If they offer 3% match, put in 3%. Because otherwise you're missing out on free money there. The second tidbit I want to share with you is take advantage of Roth IRAs. If you're still working, you can contribute to a Roth IRA. What that is it's a post-tax retirement account. So you've already paid income taxes on this money, and anything that it earns in the market from then forward for the rest of your life will be tax-free. If you put in $10,000 and it's worth $100,000 down the road, you will never pay taxes on that $90,000 you made again. So they're great vehicles. If you don't have one, look into them, talk to me, talk to an advisor, get one started. The second component during our accumulating wealth stage of life is advanced planning. At this stage of life, we're typically not just planning for ourselves anymore, but for our kids and caring for our parents. So some things you should look at during this point of life is potentially opening 529 college savings accounts for kids or grandkids. This is where, again, you'll get some tax benefit portions of contributing to a 529, and obviously your kids or grandkids will reap the benefits when they go to college. Another thing you can look into is long-term care policies for your parents or whoever you might be caring for at the time or in the future. These are like life insurance policies. However, you're allowed to use them while you are still alive to pay for skilled nursing care, assisted living expenses, and things like that. So moving on to the third component of the accumulating wealth stage, this is our tax management strategies. So like I mentioned earlier, tax savings is very important. Typically during this accumulating wealth stage, you're making your highest, or you're having your highest earning years at this point of life, so those tax advantages are going to be the most important. It's not about what you make while you're investing, it's about what you keep. So again, making sure that we're taking as much advantage of tax-free accounts as we can. So moving on to the distributing wealth stage. This is where I'm sure most of us are in this room, the retirement age, where you should be enjoying your retirement years.
We all wish.
Yeah. This is where we'll start to enjoy your retirement years, spend time with grandkids, take those trips, go on vacation. You're going to start spending those hard-earned dollars that you've been putting away for a long time now. So again, the three main components that we have is another education component here. During this stage of life, it's important to pay attention to changing regulations because the government is changing regulations for retirement accounts each and every year. So make sure that you're staying up to date on these things or that your financial advisor is looking into those so that we can take advantage of any of those opportunities that come your way. There's also new strategies that are coming each year, like Roth conversions or backdoor Roth strategies, again, taking advantage of those tax-free earnings. Moving on to our second component, which is going to be healthcare. At this stage of life, it's important to review things like Medicare and Medicaid and determine what age you're eligible to take it, when you plan on enrolling, as well as looking into how you plan on paying for your care down the road. Do you plan on aging in your house? Do you plan on needing a wheelchair ramp then? Are we going to need a chairlift? Is family going to come and care for you? Are you going to have to pay for skilled nursing care? Are you going to live in an assisted living facility? I know these are all topics that are a little bit touchy, but it's very important to think on because we need to plan for how we're going to pay for those. Moving on to income planning. Obviously, once you retire, that paycheck is not coming from your employer anymore, so we have to find some way to supplement that and keep us on that luxurious lifestyle that we're used to. So how are we going to replace that income? Of course, Social Security, which hopefully will be around forever, but who knows. But with Social Security, that's supplemental income. So usually you're going to need more money than just what Social Security is going to pay you. Along with claiming Social Security, there's many different ways you can do it. Decide what age you want to start at, how long you're going to wait, if you plan on taking yours or your spouse's, depending on whose pays out more. And then, after you're collecting your Social Security, you need to come up with your spending or your budget and determine how much monthly you need on top of Social Security. This is where you'll start pulling from retirement account assets, 401ks, IRAs, and it's important to have a set plan so you're taking only what you need rather than completely depleting the account within the first few years. So no matter what financial stage of life that you're in, I encourage you to talk with a financial advisor so that you can get the investment expertise that we offer so you don't have to go into it blindly. We'll also provide a tailored financial plan for you specific to meeting your goals. And we will educate and answer any questions that you have along the way, of course. So we all know knowledge is power, and by sharing this information with you today, I'm hoping that we're all going to leave a little bit more confident about taking control of our financial future. Thank you.
Thank you.